And next we'll have Mr. McHugh-Russell.
I'd like to thank Athletes Can for hosting this event. Sports and amateur sport in this country is an important issue. It's an incredibly important issue that I don't think gets enough attention, and that our party has made a long-term commitment to finally promoting in the long term. I'm also personally proud of our athletes. We have some fantastic athletes today. For people watching from home, we have Canadian Athletes of the Year, we have Paralympic medal winners, we have Olympic medal winners, we have world champions in a number of sports. I've personally never even met the level of amateur sports. I've played rec basketball occasionally, the worst player on the worst team in the lowest rated league in Toronto playing rec basketball. And I was, for one brief moment in high school, a competitive cheerleader, no word of a lie. But the real athletes, the high performance athletes that we have gathered here today are an inspiration to us, unlike my record in sports. They're an inspiration to us as individuals and as Canadians, and they need our support. They play an important role in providing that inspiration, not only to Canadians in general, but to young people specifically. In fact, many of them still are young people. That inspiration matters, and New Democrats realize that amateur sport and amateur sport and fitness matter not only in and of themselves, although the sport itself does matter, but it matters because investing in sport and investing in fitness helps build strong communities, it helps make families healthier, and it does continue to give us an idea of what people are capable of achieving. On strong communities, we know that investments in amateur sport, in fitness, can help reduce youth crime. The more that young people are involved in sports, the less likely they are to get involved in criminal activity, in gangs, in drugs. And they can help build healthy families. This is something that we all realize. Healthy individuals. Investing in sport means, as my associate has said, has an incredible impact on making people healthier, reducing obesity, and reducing the incidence of a number of diseases. Because of the importance of amateur sport and fitness for providing these incredible social benefits, the NDP has committed, first of all, to investing in fitness infrastructure in our city's plan, by investing in bike lanes and walking trails to get people involved, not just in sports, but in everyday physical activity. A lot of people are discouraged from biking because it's unsafe in our cities. There isn't a good way to go walking, so that's our first commitment. The second thing is that we're committed to having a member of the government who is dedicated to sports and sport promotion. But I think our clearest commitment is that we've dedicated, in our platform, 1% of Health Canada's budget to physical fitness and amateur sports promotion. That's consistent, targeted funding for amateur sport and fitness pegged at 1% of Health Canada funding. That'll include investments in community centers, in senior centers, in recreational facilities, and in playing fields. And it's all fully costed in our balanced budget platform. The Liberals and Conservatives, unfortunately, have failed on this issue. The Liberals don't have a line in their budget plan on this issue. The Conservatives haven't delivered. The NDP is showing leadership on this issue by being very clear about the money that we will invest in amateur sport and fitness. And if you vote New Democrat, you'll get delivery on that promise.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. McHugh-Russell. We'll now move to Ms. Georges.
This is on. Can you hear me? Thanks very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to give my appreciation to the organizers for putting together this opportunity. I'm not sure if this has happened in a federal election before, but I'm very pleased to see that it is occurring. I am pleased to have the opportunity today to explain to you some of the things that I've done as the Secretary of State for Sport, as well as what our Conservative government has done over the past 2.5 years. Sport is very important to our community. You hear the cliche all the time, from the playground to the podium, but I know that it is something that is very meaningful for our Conservative government, and we've worked very hard over the past 2.5 years to prove that, and I'll name some of these initiatives. But before I do that, I do want to take a moment to congratulate our Olympic athletes for the enormous success that we saw. I think we should give them a round of applause. One of the things that I did as sport minister, along with my colleague, Minister Tony Clement, was reintroduce participation, and we allocated $5 million to do this. This was a program that was cut by the previous government, and it is working out to be a very positive program. It's something that will help Canadians get a move on. And we did a launch actually on Parliament Hill, where we got our members of Parliament out there to walk around and start taking the stairs instead of the elevator. It's a movement to try to get our youth and our community more physically active, and I think this is a positive approach to do so. We also introduced the Children Fitness Tax Credit, which is a $500 tax credit for children and for parents who want to enroll their children in sport. And what we've done this campaign is promise that we're going to take that one step further. So not only is it a tax credit, but for those families, low-income families who pay literal no income tax, it will be a fully refundable tax credit back to them. They will have the money in their pockets to help pay for that. In addition to that, what we did is we updated the disability policy in 2007, and we've invested more money into athletes with the disability program, ensuring that all of the national sports organizations have this as part of their accountability. We as the government also implemented a new international hosting policy. We were spending $1 million a year on hosting international sporting events in Canada. We've now allocated over $15 million to have more hosting policy events coming on in the country, and we have seen some significant dollars go out in the last year, and we'll continue to see that increase. This is a great opportunity not only to bring people and athletes to Canada, it's an opportunity for athletes across the country to be more active, and it also helps support the creation of infrastructure to support these hosting events, and I think this is a very significant move that our government made. I'm looking forward to us hosting the 2009 World Canoe Championships. That'll be out on the East Coast. We continue to work hard on 2 bids as the sport minister for the Pan Am bids for 2015, as well as the University Games in Edmonton. And what we've done here is we're supporting the provinces, we're supporting the city of Edmonton to host both of these quality games. For Ontario, what that will mean is a huge influx of infrastructure to help our summer sport athletes. I'm very proud of this. We're working hard to accomplish that, and what we'll see is the economic spin-off from that should we be successful. And for me personally, I know this is a precursor to seeing the Olympics, and it is my goal for us to have the Summer Olympics in Ontario at some point. On to the next. Yeah, that was a good one, yeah. For Road to Excellence, we all know that there's $24 million over 2 years now allocated for our summer sport athletes. I fought hard for that, and I made it permanent. So after 2 years, it will be an additional $24 million to go to our summer sport athletes, permanent going forward. In addition to that, Women in Sport Policy, I've been hosting roundtables across the country and should be re-elected. Within weeks after that, I will be announcing the new Women in Sport Policy. And Canada Games Council, I've worked closely with them. I would like to see more promotion of our amateur athletes, and this means encouraging our broadcasters to be a part of this. I'd like Canada Games to really become Canada's Games. I think it would be fantastic. And just one thing to close on our women ski jumpers. I've been working hard, traveling around the world, meeting with many of our IOC members, advocating on their behalf, and I am determined to see that our women ski jumpers compete at 2010.
Thank you, Ms. Georges.